I'd like to welcome everyone to the Menomonee Falls Public Library Board of Trustees monthly board meeting on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6 o'clock to order. I'll do roll call first. Nicole Barker, President.
Tom Ewig, Secretary Treasurer.
David Munoz, Superintendent of Schools.
John Soper.
Michael Dibbitts.
Scott Habegger, Trustee.
Dan Lissela, Ellen Rohr.
Jacqueline Romer.
Next we have public comment period. However, there is nobody here for public comment, so we will skip over that and go straight to the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda will be approved in one motion unless any board member requests that an item be removed for individual discussion. That item can be considered at an appropriate time during the board's regular order of business or under new business.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Next we have the 2025 annual report and system effectiveness statements. You guys should all got that in your
I am
packet.
crazy. I didn't get my packet. I might need a
Oh.
run. Oh, there's one. Ellen's my savior,
It's my last one, guys.
and I'm the
All right.
special one.
And then I need a motion to approve the 2025 annual report and system effectiveness statements.
Motion to approve 25 annual report and system effectiveness statement.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
So pretty standard information. You've seen the vast majority of it by now, just in different format. It goes through all the statistics for 2025. We do have an estimated amount of interest earnings and also insurances for 2025. It's possible that we may need amendments in the next few months as Village Finance gets that information, but for now, we feel solid about this.
What was our interest? I saw it earlier. Interest earned?
I'm not
I don't think we have the final numbers on
We
it,
don't
do
have
we?
final
It's just an
numbers.
estimate.
What is our estimate?
I,
90,000 for the 10 months that aren't posted.
It's okay.
it's not broken out in this
So
report.
90,000 for what's posted.
What's not posted, and then, so there was 4 months posted, so a little over 120,000.
So it's 90,000 the amount that we estimated plus the actual posted amount. Got it.
So is the 120,000 rebudgeted or put into the budget?
That would be above and beyond.
Right.
So,
That goes into the fund balance.
yeah, so that's left over at the end of the year.
Got it. Thank you.
That would be even more than last year, right?
Yeah.
Last year's was pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we only had 3 months data, so leave up to your estimate.
Yeah.
It's still a high interest.
We're estimating 177,000 left over at the end of 2025. So if that fluctuates either way, we're still sitting very well. But this is really due to the interest numbers.
The interest
Change it,
environment.
yeah.
Yep. And interest is doing pretty good right now, so. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor of approving the, whatever it was? The 2025 annual report and system effectiveness statement, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed. Next we have the amendments to the library clerk job description. You should all have that in your packets.
Yeah.
I need a motion to approve the updated library clerk job description.
I'd like to so motion.
Seconded.
Motion second, any discussion?
This is a standard update to an existing job description. We have some upcoming retirements, so we're just improving it with new standards, and it was approved by Village HR.
Do you figure cost savings into future budgets, hiring someone at a slightly decreased rate if they're not at the top of the scale?
Yes,
So
so.
you budget that in into cost savings over recurring budgets and years?
Correct.
Got it. Good.
All right, all in favor of approving the updated job description for library clerk, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. And then we got Finance Committee discussion and possible action on the following items. Waukesha County Act 150 Library Planning Committee's requested endorsement of the proposed Waukesha County Library Services Plan amended minimum to exempt and quality assurance standards. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All right, any discussion?
So out of the finance committee, we unanimously voted that we would recommend that the full library board of trustees does not approve these changes to the minimums. As we looked into them, what we were hoping that they would change from a minimum standard, in other words, the minimum amount that we have to pay out in order to fund materials, things like that. We're hoping for a reduction in that. And in reality, what we saw from what we were looking at is they very slightly reduced the amount that we're required to spend and instead cut us by a full-time requirement of a full-time employee. So we went from 17 down to 16 in requirement for a full-time employee and did not really affect much from a bottom line standard, which I believe is reflected on, there's a page.
The orange
that one,
chart.
The orange
Yeah.
chart. So the minimums to exempt we must spend is 215,000, currently 225,000. So they literally said, hey, just 10,000 extra, but they cut us by
A
a
full-time.
full 1.5 full-time employee, meaning that if we were to approve this and it goes into effect and we have another budget situation coming up, that the potential would be there that we have to cut another person because we're not required to have it. And so that's why from a finance committee, we were looking at it saying, hey, this isn't necessarily what we had anticipated and or wanted from that standpoint, so we would recommend that we don't approve. And then I'll let John and Nicole also comment on that as they were part of that discussion as well.
So basically what we kind of had said was that the staff would be expected to do the same amount of work, but with one less person or 1.5 less people.
Yeah.
And we didn't think that that was necessarily in our library's best interest.
Yeah, just to accent that, perspective is when we have a budget that is amount of money given to us by the village, this restricts on how we can continue to provide support and services to our community. We have to buy a certain amount of books. Our shelves are full, our collection is full, which means we have to buy these books and get rid of books in order to put the books on there. So the only area that we would be able to adjust our budgets is through staffing and other key areas. We were hoping that they would give us more flexibility in how many materials we need to purchase, because we have a very robust collection as it is, and can continue to be. It doesn't need to be at this extreme level. So it had issues to do not only with the amount of space we have and how much we have to throw away every month, it also restricts how we can adjust our fiscal structure within the building to provide the best services to our community. And it basically, we're going to have to cut staff if the village cuts our funding even more without raising property taxes. And so that was another reason why it just seemed odd that they would go towards personnel as opposed to allowing, if we ever wanted to spend 215, we should be able to, but required is the trouble that we have.
And to be clear, we're not saying that we're not going to buy the materials that are necessary for the library. right? The problem is that they're telling us we have to spend this amount, and from what we were hearing as well is that we were trying to find ways to figure it out at the end of the year to spend the amount in order to hit the minimum, meaning that we're buying all the materials and things like that necessary for the library to function, and we were doing it because
We have to
the
spend.
staff are so good at finding the deals and everything like that. We're now still trying to find more ways to do it while we're still running effective, efficient programming with, we didn't necessarily hit or didn't necessarily need to spend the minimum amount in order to provide everything that the Menomonee Falls public is in need of. And that's kind of the part of the problem as well, is that we're trying to find ways to spend the public's money because we're told we have to, when in reality, we could allocate it towards programs, we could allocate it towards other things that would be more applicable to the public in general.
We'd rather have more relational programs.
Exactly.
I think-
Bottom line is,
Yeah.
I agree with you guys, and so I do think it's important that you push back, because we had so many different representatives. There were areas where they would only allow, a lot of people fought back in certain areas. So I agree with you. So I think we just.
So the
Did they give any rationale for why, like you're saying, they lowered the FTE?
It just, we have such a variety of libraries within the system. And you had a group of representatives, and you take, we're 40,000 basically population. And then you go to another library that's 20,000. They tried to do some of it by population, but the jump can be so much that the FTE, even though it seems like a lot to us, for the next person down, it wasn't, if that makes sense. So it's pretty hard to keep these minimums when you have all these such different communities in different libraries. I agree. I pushed to get the materials down a lot more. I fought just to get this much. And so I agree with you. That should be our flexibility, and that was my big push.
Yeah, I think it's very dependent on the different libraries,
Yeah,
because one library may have different needs where they need to spend a lot more on materials.
Yeah, I
And-
agree.
But I don't believe that's our,
This is why the vast majority of systems in the state of Wisconsin do not have stringent standards like this. The vast majority of counties do not have such numerical standards. More of them are the quality assurance type standards.
And I fought that too, and they were not hearing it whatsoever.
How much are we getting rid of?
I was the only vocal one. Like,
Per year? Like how many books or how many items do we take out of
So that's
circulation?
on my monthly report, I list the amount of items.
Yeah,
It pretty much evens out. The amount that comes in
Right.
is the amount that goes out, because we have X square feet of shelf space.
Right,
So,
right. No, I'm
yeah.
just curious the volume though, just, sorry,
Yep.
it's on the monthly report you said?
Yes, and I do
Yeah,
have print
so-
copies for everyone.
1,248 essentially physical material is taken out a month.
Yeah.
About.
Which is way more than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
1,200 is way more removal than I thought we were doing, but that's, but
well,
that's
I
what it
mean,
is.
you gotta have somewhere to put the new stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
it's a lot of work for the staff too.
is.
So are they what I'm trying to understand is, with the size of the library and what we offer, how they say, so you can have fewer people as a minimum. I mean, I look and say, well,
Again,
what changed?
Here's the
that-
problem, we're doing percentages.
Yeah,
That percentage drop, we wouldn't want to go down another full FTE right now.
yeah.
But there were other libraries that wanted more flexibility in that area. And I was the most vocal on, we are the only county that has these stringent standards, and I wanted us to have our own ability to choose that. The reason we have these is that they're afraid that a library might pop up in between us and Sussex and not hold to the quality that they should, and yet they're still gonna get the taxpayer money that everyone else is getting. So that's why they do this. I wanted it to purely be recommendation, and I was the only one.
I don't see I see we're expected to hold currently 128,000 books. Now they're dropping that, so we only have to hold 117,000 books in our library. But once you get to 128,000 books, do you still need to purchase 1,200
Right.
books every month?
Right.
We're at max, so
Yeah.
give us some flexibility so we can hire 22 employees, so we can provide more community programming, which our community loves.
Yeah.
Also attracts people to our library, but now we're stuck. We really don't have much flexibility because we're required in materials, and the only area where we can get cut without getting penalized by the Waukesha County Commission is by reducing our employee expenditures.
I
What is our
100%
collection
agree.
size right now?
100, apparent, on this form, 128,600.
Well, that's saying what the minimum is, right?
I can tell
We
you.
have 137,782 since last year, and it's on the
Okay.
annual report.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
Okay,
like,
good question.
it's like almost 10% then per year we're cycling out, right? I guess is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is that,
It's about,
Yeah.
12, almost 12,000.
okay, yeah.
It's a
And
lot.
it
we're
just
gonna
seems like,
do a
it
bigger-
just seems like every 10 years, you really need to flip over your library. And I don't know if it-
Area.
I don't
It's
know.
true.
Yeah, I don't know, it seems bizarre.
Yeah.
So I agree. Push back on that one, 100%.
What happens if we say no?
So then the committee is going to record every board's answers in Waukesha County. They're gonna use a formula to determine, whether or not X amount of population, representation says yes or no. And then if it is no, then it goes back to the committee. If it is yes, then it moves forward. So even if we disagree with it, it's not necessarily going to not go through, or we still have to go through and follow those, even if we disagree with it as a board.
But we can at least have a say in it now.
Correct, and there is a spot for comments, so I can put the comments on this form if you,
Yes, I think
that,
we should.
as to the
Absolutely.
reasons why.
Yes.
So that they're aware that this is the concern.
So,
Yes.
I think using John and Ann's comments or any of the comments that
Yeah.
are recorded
Definitely.
would be great to put on that sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And just so I'm clear, the finance committee is recommending that we vote no.
That's
Correct.
correct.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your service on that committee though,
thank you.
Ann. I know that was many hours of meetings.
We were lucky to
Yes.
have.
Thank you for your
Oh my gosh.
advocation.
I tried.
So we have a motion and a second.
Yep. All right, all in favor of approving the endorsement of the proposed Waukesha County Library Services Plan amended minimum to exempt and quality assurance standards, say aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion does not pass.
This is actually kind of fun.
We don't both know it very much.
Way to go, Mrs. Stowe.
All right, next we have the recommended amendments to the Latitude Cafe Coffee Shop Agreement, which is supposed to be renewed on March 13th, 2026, pending approval from Village Board. I need a motion to approve the amendments to the coffee shop agreement.
Motion to approve the amendment to the library coffee shop agreement with the
second.
condition of 2A being approved by legal counsel
Thank you.
specifically.
I second that.
Motion and second. Discussion.
All right, so the changes to the coffee shop agreement, a lot of it just came down to accounting. For Ellen, when she's putting the budget together, it's a lot easier for us to be able to budget with a number that we know we're going to get. And so that came into discussion with Latitude. I know you guys had seen a little bit about the drafts and things like that. In the discussion with Latitude's owners, it came out and it was agreeable from the finance committee that we would do a 12-month look back and set the average or set the number for the next 12 months based on the average of the sales from the previous 12. So then moving forward on a monthly basis, we will know what number we are going to get from a monthly piece
A minimum.
at a minimum from Latitude on a monthly basis moving forward for those 12 months. They also agreed within that contract to have at a minimum or 10%, the higher of the two. So in other words, we would get 10% if it's above that number. If it's below that number in sales, we get that minimum from the 12 months previous. So for instance, if the minimum is $650 for the previous 12 months, that's what we would get no matter what at a minimum for the next 12 months. However, if 10% of their gross sales in any month is higher than $650, we get the higher of the two. So it could be $700, it could be $655,
Or 840.
or $840.
How much money, it was over 10 grand, but how much money did we make in a year?
79.98.17, and you should all have this.
Oh.
It actually has the breakdown and the average. So for 2025, the monthly average was $666.51.
Correct.
So that will be their minimum that they would pay on a monthly basis if they do not reach that amount in sales.
I think I mixed it in with some of those other ones.
And this was agreeable?
Yes.
The meeting
And
was
so-
agreeable?
It was a
Very
fantastic meeting. We had a great discussion with Daniel and Amber about it, and, you know, that's where we were able to come to a really nice compromise. Because they understood where we were coming from, we understood where they were coming from a business standpoint. And that's why we wanted to make it agreeable to all parties, because at the end of the day, it's partnership. From this contract, we enter into an agreement with them, and we want to make sure it's acceptable and agreeable to all parties moving forward. It just makes it makes Ellen's life easier and our lives easier when we're trying to budget. We know at least, hey, we're gonna get this number so we can put it on a line item for the budget. And that was really helpful for us. And the fact that they were also willing to say, hey, yeah, we'll do that, plus we'll still do the 10% on months that are above and beyond was fantastic.
Are we continuing with the 50% for,
Yes.
To my understanding,
is
yes.
that every day, all day?
Yes.
Okay. I almost feel like we could start moving, not that we'll need to get into this now, but something to consider is moving forward. Maybe you have a day, for the police, day for the, just maybe school
Well,
district.
I
we
will-
still get the 10% for that.
I will say
Even with
for,
so that doesn't count in
But
our.
that's right, it doesn't count.
Yes.
Okay, well, as
And-
long as they're
and
okay
that
with
is
that.
That's
also-
their business, we didn't say
Yeah.
what they
Yeah,
did.
no, that's, okay.
so that was
That's right.
that was them,
gift
and
they
they
give.
had agreed to do that, and they said
very
that we were
nice of
gonna
them.
continue
Yeah.
it, so,
Yeah,
um,
well, it's good that the public understands that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
doing that and
So-
still reimbursing us.
So we made $8,000 last year
yep,
Yes,
that we otherwise wouldn't have had.
correct.
So I'm trying to understand, so how big of an issue is the budgeting forecast?
It's a significant issue because right now, we estimate every single year what we're getting in, and every revenue that we budget in August and September has to be accounted for as an expenditure. So right now, we're guessing. We're fingers crossed, hoping that we're going to get the revenue from Latitude. And so that makes it difficult for us to be able to say, this year we want to replace some soft seating with that money. This year we want to do that. We can't rely on it. It's an unknown. So having a solidified known amount that we're going to be given monthly and then therefore annually allows us to actually budget these projects or special things that we would like to purchase with those funds into the budget.
So you're trying to fill both sides of your ledger?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
So
Well,
by
and
my
especially-
math, if this would have been in place from the start, or if you look at, if the numbers would continue, we would get $30 more a month.
Theoretically, yeah.
I mean, that's what,
Yeah.
if you just followed the current numbers, and you
Correct.
said, if we got, here's the average, so we say here's the average, and we get that as a minimum, in a full year, it would be $30 a month extra we would be making.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that before because like we had never had that here before. So we were just trying to get some numbers in and see what was working, what wasn't working, and then we found where it wasn't working and came back and said, okay, we need to fix this. Let's do this. And obviously had the meeting with Latitude, and they were very agreeable, which was good for us. I think we did tell them too, especially when, you know, when we lost the $300,000 from our budget, that was where we kind of figured out like we really need like to know the bare minimum what we're gonna get every month.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had to use that in our budget. We had to use the revenue in our budget to make the budget balance. So
Okay.
that was part of the reasoning for it.
Yep. So that was, any other questions on that piece?
I have another question.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, so part one, number one, it says the library's efforts to market and promote the coffee shop shall be consistent with its marketing and promotions of other amenities of the library. How do we measure that? I mean, how do we know?
It's, you wanna, I think we understand there's a little vagueness there, but that's, I guess we go
Basically,
with it based on.
They're
intent.
responsible for their own marketing. However, because they are a part of the library and we directly benefit from them making money, we obviously want to help somewhat, but we don't want Jackie to be, that is her full-time job, because she has a full-time job.
No, I'm
So-
more thinking, and come back and say, well, you're not doing enough. And it's here, and it says you're supposed to be doing commensurate. I don't know what that is.
So
We'll
it
say,
sounds
oh, yeah,
like
we
a
are.
little bit in that first sentence, because, you know, must make a good faith effort to market and promote, right? So,
And all parties agreed on this, right?
yes, all
Yes.
parties agreed on it.
Lawyers.
Yes.
The good faith effort is kind of that metric, right? Is that we're making an effort to do so.
Yeah.
And any differences of opinion on that, I think will be up for discussion within a committee setting of, hey, you know, we don't think you're making a good faith effort, whatever that means at
Yeah.
that time. And then we discuss what that means within the comprehensive committee instead of totally saying parts of that make sense.
Did we enhance the grievance? So if
Yes.
there is a discrepancy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay, well, here's how that can be remediated.
so that's
By following
the
this
second
process.
big change, correct. We called it the chain of communication, but it outlines exactly how everything should take place from a grievance standpoint. It all starts with discussions with Jackie, and then from there, if parties do not agree, doesn't matter which party it is, if they can't come to an agreement or one doesn't think so, then it goes to the director to go to the president to get it on the agenda for the finance committee. Currently being under the finance committee, mostly because this has to do with finance and rather than creating another ad hoc committee, putting it under the finance committee's duties at that point, at least until it gets too big where we can't and we need to have another committee. But at least for right now, having a set place to go and having a chain of how to make things happen. Again, it's not saying that anything was working poorly currently, but it's to outline things for the future of going, all right, you know, if somebody in here is not in their seat, what does that mean, you know, in reading these, okay, we have a set instruction manual.
Mhm. So we just wanted to make sure, because in the last agreement, there was no where for anybody to go with grievances other than the full library board. So while the committees cannot make decisions, they can recommend. So that is where the committee comes in, is they would recommend an action if it needs to come to the full board, or if they can just get it, resolved within just the committee and there doesn't need to be a decision,
Yeah.
then it stays at the committee level and it doesn't need to come to the full board unless they still can't get an agreement with just the committee, or there needs to be a decision, then it would come to the full board.
Yep.
So just to reiterate, all people's legal representatives are in agreement,
With the
With the
exception of the
exception
one
of 2A.
which is
Yep.
in the motion.
Which is in the
Right.
motion, but yes, other than that, all lawyers have given their approval on that.
Okay.
Yep.
So 2A, the reason for that is that the, Daniel and Amber's lawyer just got that back to us. And that is the part that is highlighted on the agreement. That was just before the meeting tonight.
Yep.
So that is the only reason, so the motion is to, we can approve with the exception of 2A once it's finalized by the lawyers.
This is different than the one in my packet.
Correct.
So we're going with this one, not the one in the packet?
Correct.
Okay.
That, this one has the changes made by the lawyers from Daniel and Amber.
Okay.
Is there anything else that?
I just, I guess one note I would have is, so some of the issues that may bubble up may have nothing to do with finance, but we'll go to the finance committee, but I just say, pull people in if you need. Like if it's a marketing thing, I'd love to be involved in that, right?
Anyone can come to the finance
Yeah.
committee, so yeah, we would
Yeah.
try and let
Yeah.
people know.
Yeah, and it's for no other reason than to give it a one spot, so then
No,
the
I like that.
president's
Yeah, I
not
like-
having to
no,
go,
I like
"Alright,
that."
Where does this fall into it just, and like I said, it could change committees at any time, it just, that was the easiest place, but yeah, to your point,
Yeah.
if it's a marketing thing, you would get a call, say, hey, we want you
Or
there.
whatever,
so
you know.
You know, but
If it was a
exactly,
market, I
that's.
mean, there is room that if, once she comes to the president can make that decision to say, well, I think this should actually go to the whatever board.
Okay.
So that would be up to the president's discretion.
That is not true.
Yes.
Based on the contract, that is not true. It specifically states the library board's next finance committee meeting for discussion. So it must go there. Now, the finance committee could potentially kick it to a different committee. That could potentially happen,
Okay.
I would assume. But the president must bring it, at least in this agreement, to the finance committee.
Okay.
Okay.
Works for me. Either way.
Yep.
All right, any questions, comments?
So our attorney will review it as soon as possible, and then I will work with communicating with the levies on this. And if everything works out with that, then we're good to go. But I just need to consult with our attorney first.
Absolutely.
That's in the motion.
Stay tuned.
All in favor of,
Approving as presented,
presented
with the exception of
with the exception
2A
of
with
2A.
attorney review.
with attorney review?
Yep.
Say aye.
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 Motion's passed.
All right.
Next, we have the Policy Review Committee, discussion and possible action on the following items. So first, we have the Policy Review Committee's recommended amendments to Policy 2.04, fines, fees, and notices. I need a motion to approve Policy 2.04, fines,
Motion
fees,
to
and
approve.
notices.
Second?
Motion and second, any discussion?
The only changes that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. The only changes that we have is the recommendation to increase the fine for overdue Wi-Fi hotspots to $10 a day with a maximum fine of $100. That is after investigating the amount of staff time that it takes to deactivate hotspots that have not been returned and then reactivate them for another patron. And then an additional statement under replacement costs that explains that there may be charges incurred if an item's programmings or settings are damaged, amended, or reset by the library patron. This could be anything from the various things that we circulate, Nintendo Switches, Tony boxes. If something gets factory reset, it's typically a very significant amount of staff time to put it back for someone else to be able to check out.
Sounds good.
Okay. All in favor of approving policy 2.04?
Is we still in discussion?
Oh, yeah.
We're just about to vote.
Okay, before we vote. So will that change be something that our patrons are very aware of when they check it out?
Yes, library staff have already been working on making sure that we have notices. It's not going to go into effect immediately after this meeting. We anticipate at least 2 weeks so that we can allow time for the patrons to be notified of that so that they're aware
Okay.
of that charge.
'Cause I just, with having had little kids, not that we're malicious, I could see somebody's little kid accidentally resetting it, and if I didn't know, or if I did know, I might have been a little bit more cautious when I took it
Yep.
home so that that kind of mistake wouldn't happen. So that's
Yes.
why I just wanted to make sure that.
Plentiful signage
Perfect.
on the item.
Now we can go on.
All right, all in favor of approving policy 2.04, fines, fees, and notices, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed.
Wow.
All right, then we need a motion to approve the amendments to policy 5.03, unscheduled closing. All
Motion to approve.
right,
I'm
got a
gonna give it to
motion.
him. You get a second.
And a second. Any discussion?
Or when you call it next time.
Pretty self-explanatory amendments, as you can see in your packet, just changing some verbiage for clarification, looking at current or forecasted general conditions, including shelter in place or other community emergency, and removing some of the pandemic time language that we had in there.
Any questions? All right, all in favor of approving policy 5.03, unscheduled closings, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Then we have the Special Events Outreach and Fundraising Committee report.
Okay, where we are at on fundraising for the project. Jackie and I presented the village board, so we got that done. The website is up and running, flyers are flying around. We got the Library Friends, done the Facebook post, great video by Jackie talking about it. We and Jackie and I have been contacting businesses, and kind of the status of that right now is we have 3 that have said yes, but we don't have amounts yet. They say, we're going to give, but they're still working on it. I think another one where we could probably get that to 4. We gave it a tour this week, and I'll tell you, tours are powerful.
Yeah, they are.
Especially when you get business people who have never stepped foot in here, and they see what we offer, and then say, oh, we could have a business meeting here, we'd love to get off site, and so we've got that. I've got 9 that I would label next step, meaning we've contacted and they've said, oh, we've got to talk to whoever, so we've got that. 44, we have emailed or sent a message to and kind of waiting to hear back, or we go out again. We have a list, like the chamber list, where 55 we have not contacted yet. Try to prioritize who we're working with. And we have 4 that have declined and said no. So that's the status right now.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. You guys are doing great.
Yeah.
Next is the Library Board President's report. I do not have anything this month. So I'll hand it over to you for the Library Director's report.
Really the big thing that I want to talk about is in January, we met a record for the library for most physical items circulated. So we circulated 32,237 physical items that month. And that is a record going back as far as I can tell for all statistics. So that was
That's
a
fantastic.
library record. So you can imagine as physical circulations increase, we're looking at all of our circulation staff who are checking those items out, getting them back reshelved, It's a full group process, and it says a lot about the work that the staff are doing, the librarians who are ordering the materials that are really popular and great, circulation staff making it happen, keeping the library tidy. So great job to the library. This is a huge win, and we are going for trying to beat February as well. So stay tuned.
I
So,
can see that the fax machine's still working. That's
yep.
Use that a lot, I know.
That's all I have.
I have a quick question about the Hoopla shutdown and then the Libby numbers to Hoopla. Looks like we went from 9,500 or 9,600 overall online materials circulation down to about 8724. Is that just people getting from Hoopla onto Libby kind of thing? Is there any sort of, like, what kind of questions, and I guess I don't know how that transition will happen with people going from Hoopla up over to Libby kind of thing. Is that just still kind of a transition period?
Correct. So obviously, we're not going to recoup the amount of Hoopla circulations that we were doing because we don't have that entire platform anymore.
Yep.
But the library system as a whole is putting more funding into the Lucky Day collection on Libby to offset Hoopla. Obviously, they can't put the amount of funds that we were all putting in for Hoopla, but we are working on building that up. So hopefully that continues to grow. The idea is to use Libby as a platform that will eventually replace that on-demand feel that Hoopla gave. It's not a one-for-one replacement, but we're getting there.
Fantastic.
Awesome. All right. Next is the village trustees reports.
The village board voted down the Menomonee Falls Historical Society's contract this year, not because we're against them. We just directed the village manager to get more details of their financial and physical assets. The village, as you know, owns that property, owns the buildings, the MFHS runs everything. And because of various reasons, we just want to make sure that any financial or physical assets that have been accrued over the years, we need to know what those are because those would go back to the village. It's very important. We also recommended that they reimburse the village for a roof repair, as we now have 2 groups running the park. We also have the Friends of, kind of like here. The Friends take care of all of the acres and acres of grass cutting and trimming and bushes. The MFHS is in charge of taking care of the buildings. The roof was repaired and there was a little mix-up. I don't even know how to explain it, but as a board, we requested that $11,000 did get reimbursed to the village. We're still waiting to see what's happening with that contract. Nothing further at this time. We had the fire quarterly report. Fire Chief Pulvermacher came in. Peak ambulance calls are still Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. That continues. Starting March 1st, we're going to have a third-party fire inspection group. This is going to be very cost and time, effect. It will be much better for the fire department so that they don't have to send their guys out doing all of the inspections. Currently, we have 43 career firefighters, 30 part-time firefighters and EMTs. The other thing I thought was really cool is we have a ATV ambulance. If any of you have or haven't seen it yet, we use that if there's an emergency, like on the bug line, or at Village Park. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It's pretty cool.
Very
All done.
All right, next is school districts.
Yeah, I'll give an overview of what's going to come out in the bulletin in about a week. I have a snippet in the bulletin. Talk about academics, safety, facilities, and physical health. Long and short of it, we've done mid-year academic performance reports, and across the board in all buildings, academics, achievement, growth, engagement in all buildings is increasing and improving year over year, but also looking 4 years back, substantial improvements in reading, math, and several other academic areas we're excited about. We're very thankful to the teachers, new curriculums that we have in place, the building principals, of course, and families and students. So it's been outstanding. One of the goals this year was to improve our overall daily attendance rate to above 92%. Last year was about 90%. We're actually averaging 94 to 97% average daily attendance in all buildings. Why is that important? Students can't learn if they're not there. So that's a big deal, and the building principals are really getting after it and doing a great job. So all of our building principals have finished reporting to the board committees about all of their achievements, success, and growth. And truthfully, it's building by building, substantial academic and growth achievement increases year over year. And like I said, 4 years back to now, substantial improvements. So we're excited about that and thankful for that. The School District of Menomonee Falls is currently navigating not just high achievement, but also transition. Some may have heard that Officer Gopinski, we have 3 school resource officers in the district. Officer Gopinski is leaving his role. He's actually already left his role, and we'll have a new officer in place within a few weeks. So we've already sent a message around, so that's pretty common knowledge at the high school, that Officer Gopinski is staying with the police department, but we'll rotate in a new officer shortly. The chief has guaranteed me, and I have seen that there has been no interruption in service. So there's been other officers circling in to make sure that we have the same, level of safety. We have a great relationship with the village police. We're good friends, and we work together all the time just to make sure that all the schools and kids are safe and staff are safe, which they are.
Do you know which officer yet is going to be?
They have not, we do not know yet.
Okay.
But I know that there were, I heard 10, but as many as 12 that have put in for it. So you have to go through certain specific training to be a school resource officer. You have to be an officer with some experience first. So you can't be just a new officer. They want somebody with experience, and then you have to go to specific training working with students. So I have full confidence, and Officer Gopinski is actually sitting in on the interviews.
Okay.
So they'll do a great job, and we'll have somebody on board by the next time we meet. So on the facilities front, we're thrilled to announce the new Menomonee Falls Community Center is operational, fully operational. So we invite all residents, everybody here, we'll get out some specific invitations to the village grand opening, the community center grand opening. So that's attached to the Riverside Elementary, so it's new community center. So it's new gym and brand new community center for our, not for school students, but we've always had a community center. Now it's just 18,000 square feet of new space. So the grand opening is March 11th, 4:30 to 6 p.m. There'll be a tour and brief speeches, not a lot. We'll have a lot of people invited, but we're excited about it. It's operational now. A lot of changes up there, and including a brand new gym, but along with other things. So we're excited to celebrate. Also, that we had an induction into our Athletics Hall of Fame. Walt, I was proud to be on the court, giving out awards. Obviously, it's just a great, sad night. But there's a gentleman, class of 21. He's a pitcher, Cole Fialco. It's actually he wasn't able to be there, unfortunately, but his brother and sister were there to receive the award. He had like a 0.0 ERA, and clearly he would have got in to this Athletic Hall of Fame. He is battling ALS right now. But other inductees: Michaela Robinson, class of 2013, Ryan Gorecki, class of 2006, Keith Rasmussen, class of 1996, and Scott Ormond, class of 79. Wow. Interesting, he's from Texas now and lives very close to my extended family in Texas. We had some wonderful conversation at the dinner beforehand. So we do an athletic Wall of Fame or Hall of Fame, and then a Fine Arts Hall of Fame. So our Fine Arts Hall of Fame is coming up here in a month or so. So finally, many districts in the area, I'm happy to report that we aren't in as many struggles. You probably hear it around the state. There's a lot of financial struggles with a lot of public schools right now. I'm happy to report the School District of Menomonee Falls is projecting a balanced budget for the 26-27 school year. So this year's budget is obviously balanced. We took care of that. We made some changes for the 26-27 to make sure that 26-27 we're projecting balanced. There's some challenges out there beyond that, which a lot of people are aware of, kind of linked to special education funding. But in the short term, we are projecting a balanced budget for the 26-27. So hope the spring, happy spring, everybody. Right, I know it's not quite spring yet, but I don't see any snow out there, so spring break isn't that far away.
Good job, though.
Yeah, we're
I've
we're
read
having
a
a lot
lot of the
of fun.
reports, they look excellent.
We're having
Yep.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been at a lot of those meetings, so it's been nice to watch. All right, next is the Friends report. Scott?
Well, I'm sure you all noticed the very nice clean carpet in here, thanks to the new vacuum cleaner the Friends group bought for the library.
I was gonna say.
First thing I noticed, yes.
Yeah, you would.
I did say something earlier.
You'd be surprised how much enthusiasm, right, Jackie? A lot of enthusiasm for that.
It's an amazing vacuum cleaner. We love it. It's really nice.
Okay, there's something to be said about a good vacuum.
It-
Let's be honest.
Okay, I gotta see this thing.
It's right in there.
After the meeting.
Okay.
Paid for a spin?
I didn't say that.
Another thing that might seem kind of small, but it's actually, I think, going to be big for Friends, is they're transitioning and they're using QuickBooks now, which is, I think it's going to simplify, and they already had reports, and so that was a big plus. The Chocolate Falls Give Back, which was over 2 Saturdays, because the one, it was so cold, they did it again. That was 30%, and you might have seen there was the check for $1,000.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
From that event, so that was great. The next give back details will be coming is for Epilogue Books, the little bookstore here, which huge supporters of the library here. There was a good conversation in the last meeting about these give backs that to date have all been kind of like a retail, a restaurant, or like an Epilogue. Well, there was someone came in the service industry and was interested in participating, but we got to figure out how that works, because service is just a whole different thing, right? Because right now it's here's a day, a service might be here's a week, or they might say, oh, we want a month. So anyway, they're gonna try to work through what that looks like. Friends also has been putting some videos out on social media, kind of introducing the board members on Friends. So a lot of enthusiasm in that group right now.
That's awesome. All right, our next meeting is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. and we are adjourned.